A few months ago, I shared an illustration with the Wednesday night crowd. The illustration of the father who took his little girl to the fair, and she knocked the 3 cans off the shelf. She got to pick her prize, and she picked a little set of plastic pearls. And when he was tucking her in that night, he noticed that she had worn the pearls all the way through the bath and now wanted to sleep with them, and he asked her to take them off, didn't want to risk them getting, oh, no, Daddy, no, Daddy. He gave her a few days, and he had an idea, seeing how much she loved those pearls. He began asking for them. He said, would you give them to Daddy? Oh, no, Daddy, no. Oh, I love them so much. No. And this went on for quite some time, until one day when the father asked her for the pearls, she finally succumbed and took the pearls and gave them to her father. And her daddy said, I've been waiting for this day a long time, sweetheart. Reached into his pocket and pulled out the finest set of little pearls, the real thing, and gave them to his daughter. Love that little illustration. I'm going to read one of the finest poems that has ever been written. You listening? You are? Good. You all listening? You see, I was a little more stern with him. He got the, are you listening? You got the, listening? Rudyard Kipling's If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired of waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth that you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools, if you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk them on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss, if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will that says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, then yours is the earth and all that is in it. And what's more, you'll be a man, my son. Who? Man or woman. All right, he's going for poetry, and I think we all understand that the point of the word man is maturity. If you can do these things, you'll have reached maturity. That these things are the sign of the mature. That everything he described, the opposite of which is baby, is infantile. It's immature. I remember I was telling a friend, a preacher friend, I said to him, you know, McGuigan is right. Someone needs to preach an entire series on that poem. And the friend who should have known better, he said to me, yeah, it's a great poem, but you can't preach an entire series out of it. And I said to him, why not? And he said, well, because it's not in the Bible. My jaw literally hit the floor. I said, you're kidding, right? You don't think that's in the Bible? What Bible have you been reading? And then, of course, the pennies finally dropped with him. They're all truth. The greatness of our aspirations, it all begins with God. And as one who has flirted with poetry and writing songs down through the years, Rudyard Kipling's If, as inspiring as it is a painful read. Humbling. I should have just sat down. That's how good that poem is. I should have just sat down. But given that I'm too stupid to sit down, as though I've got something better to say than what you just heard in the opening. And besides, if I did sat down, someone would have came and said, so you ascended the mountain this week pretty much just to steal someone else's poem? So I wouldn't have got away with it, but I should have, because if there ever were words that express so faithfully, that encourage us so warmly and inspire us so deeply, reminding us that there are far, far bigger things, greater things than ourselves, that part of the beauty and the wonder of humanity is that we do get to reach beyond ourselves. We are not limited by our limitations. We can dream and we can aspire and we can reach and we can sacrifice. We can live lives that are bigger than the normal lives we get to live. A thought that must have captured Palmer Hortzel when he wrote, I am resolved no longer to linger, charmed by the world's delight. Things that are higher, things that are nobler, these have allured my sight. I really should sit down, right? I'm not following. I couldn't follow Kipling. I'm certainly not following that for the power, the genius, the lyrical genius, to be so succinct with biblical thought. And biblical thought that encourages the opposite of what we see exploding around the West. This epidemic of narcissism that's sweeping the West, no doubt enabled and fueled and fanned by the phones that all of our little ones are using these days, constantly being fed, where everybody's the star now. You used to have to be talented to get someone to point a camera at you. Now everybody's doing it everywhere. This lie that's being presented, that's always been presented, that originated in the garden, that it's all about you, ain't nothing bigger than you, get yours. And it's helped by this undisputed claim of modern consumerism. You've no doubt heard it before. I don't know why this little phrase isn't immediately shot down in flames every time someone says it. The customer is always right. What moron dreamt that up? and why it keeps surviving. The very fact he's a customer proves he's wrong. If he was right, he wouldn't need your business. He walks through the door wrong. And he's seeking your advice. The customer is always right. 5 minutes working in the public domain is enough to blow that little lie 100 feet out of the water. Sarah worked at Starbucks for a little while in Tucson. She would keep us amused for hours of tales of people who came in, whose worlds had ended because their mocha, choca, boca, lika, tuki, wookie, whatever it was, didn't have enough cream. These people threw fits. That's a degree of narcissism that is staggering. And I don't know if you've happened to catch on to this latest craze. Well, it's been going on for years now, but it's really beginning to pick up some momentum. I've tried, God knows I've tried to wrap my head around even the beginning of this thought process by these self-indulgent narcissists, the morning routine clan, who film themselves in the morning thinking that everybody wants to know their morning routine. Here's what I do in the morning. Here's how I get up. Here's how I brush my teeth. How many of you have seen them? Yeah, nod. Yeah, for the rest of you, you're lucky. And there's the obligatory shot where they're opening their eyes, where it takes about 2 brain cells to realize that they must have already got up, got out of bed, turned on the camera, went back into bed, and now pretending to wake up. And then while they were up, obviously taking some time to fix their hair, not too much because that would give the game away, but to fix it so that it's at least stylishly unkempt. These liars, how do I know? Because no one gets out of bed like that. My goodness. These liars who always, I noticed, always seem to take the time to edit out all the real morning noises. That all of that's edited out. There they are drinking shakes and doing their press-ups and going to the gym. And if there's anything worse than these people filming themselves, thinking that millions of people would want to watch this, it's that there are millions of people watching it. Of course, part of me wonders how much of this narcissism is actually new. And maybe we should be thanking social media for bringing it to the fore, for helping us see what was just lying underneath. As someone walks through our doors and says, well, are you guys any different? Yes, we are. The difference with the people in this room and in buildings like this all over the world today is that this room is filled with people who have confessed the opposite is true. These buildings are filled with people who, having had enough of the stench of the pig pen, confessed that they were surrounded by nothing but swill. These buildings are filled with people who have already awoken themselves to the notion that all that glitters in this world is far from gold. That day when it finally dawned on us, perhaps when we had climbed over the 100th fence to finally realize that the grass isn't greener anywhere. And that more often than not, the grass that we first left was the greenest of all, because our God happens to know what He's doing, and He knows where to place us and how to place us. So God bless those men and women who down through history have helped the human family, who have challenged the human spirit to reach for higher and nobler things. And there's no shortage of these men and women. We could spend the entire day talking about Shakespeare and the contributions that he made to the language and to our imagination and to film and to literature and therefore to culture. And hundreds like him, thousands like him, and thousands more that are now lost to antiquity. The thing that always aroused my interest when I come across a poem like this, and there's many of them, but the question that I always wondered about was, why didn't God keep all the best stories and all the best poems and all the best literature for his book? Not that the Bible's short of moments of unfathomable depth, of life-altering words and earth-shaping moments and history-changing moments. The Bible's not short of that. I just wanted to know, but why didn't he keep all of the best stuff for his book? And then it dawned on me, because he's God. He isn't threatened by us. He isn't challenged by us. He's certainly not threatened by the talent that he himself had blessed us with. It's why the bush doesn't burn. Yes? When Moses is beside the bush, it's why the bush is not consumed. There's a point being made. God arrives, and the first thing Moses noticed is that God needs nothing from him. He's not a consumer. He comes to give. He comes to bless. As Paul said last week, he's not a God who's served by human hands as though he needs something. God doesn't call you because he needs you. He doesn't need you. He's God. It's bigger than that. It's better than that. God calls you because he wants you. He wants you. And the talent that he blesses the human family with, whether or not it's displayed in the Bible, whether or not it's even used for his glory, is immaterial. It's him who blessed them with it. And if those who are blessed with the talents that he gave them use the abilities that he gave them, then they're blessed by it. It doesn't matter if they know that's where their talent comes from. It doesn't matter if they recognize the source or give the appropriate credit to him for it. It's his gift, whether they know it or not, whether they appreciate it or not, whether they thank him or not. It's to their loss if they don't appreciate the benevolent heart, the generosity of the one who gave it to them. And it's to our shame also if we, with the lesser gifts, fail to recognize that the heart is still the same. Well, why don't I have as much as them? Or why don't I have that? Why don't I have this? But probably because you couldn't handle it if you did. God's not withholding from you when he withholds talent. He's probably saving. Saving us from that which would more likely ruin us if we got our hands on it. And it shouldn't irk us to be able to confess and acknowledge that the wondrous talent that's been displayed in the world outside the pages of the Bible or outside the boundaries of his kingdom, that it all originates with him. He's not jealous of it. Neither should you be. These big hitters that occupy our screens all the time, the insanely gifted, the multi-talented, the sports people with phenomenal hand-eye or hand-feet coordination, the business people, the big people, the smart ones who can always seem to predict where the markets are going. I know I have my moments too. I fantasize. I wonder what life would be like if you had so much money where you couldn't even use the word spend anymore to describe what it was you were doing because you're not even considering the price. I wonder too, I have those moments, just how large my yacht would be. How many other yachts would be able to fit in my... See, you're already seeing why I've never won the lottery. I can't even comment on not winning it without telling you about my yacht. But these big hitters, what have we got to be jealous of? What do you have to be jealous of? What do I have to be jealous of? Have you, I don't know if I should ask you, I don't know if I should tell you this, it might provoke you to jealousy. Have you by any chance heard of Jesus Christ of Nazareth? Have you heard of him? This is going to blow your mind. He's my friend. In fact, this will blow even wider. He's actually my closest friend. I know, loves me, absolutely, adores me. I don't know why, I couldn't tell you why. I could give you many reasons why that shouldn't be so. I've certainly supplied him enough reasons not to be my friend, but I can't shake him. And I'm telling you that I've tried. In fact, I flew around the world one year trying to get away from him. And yet every plane I boarded, every bar I entered, every hotel I stayed in, and every beach I walked, there were 2 sets of footprints. I saw him everywhere. I couldn't shake him. I couldn't, even when I told him, get away from me. I don't want you here. He would simply reply, you don't mean that. And I would say, yeah, I know. There's no shaking him. A greater friend you will never know. And guess what? His dad, his father, loves me too. But he loves me with the same love that he loves you. And it's a staggering love. Because he loves me and he loves you. And yet he knows everything about you. Everything. There's some people in here, I don't doubt it. There's some people in here who, if they knew everything about you, that's the last you'd hear of them today. Some people are even more fickle than that. But there are some like it. Your Father knows everything about you. And it's you that can't shake him. He knows the places that you've been. He knows the things that you've done. He knows the things that only you know about. He knows the thoughts that you've had, the evil that you've harbored against others. He knows the websites that you've visited. He knows the people that you've secretly hated. He knows the thoughts that you have, the things that you have wished upon others. And he's as close to you this morning as he has. There's no shaking him. He's like one of the dogs on the end of the rope. You know the dogs on the rope, you can't get it out. And they just won't let go. You know why? Because he knows how to keep a promise. You see, sometimes we think that when we went down into those waters, Sometimes we get the idea that the promise we made was the important one. The promise he made is the important one. You asked him to get you home. He's going to do it. So, what do you have to be jealous of? In fact, did you know that he's jealous? Did you know that about him? That it's possible to make him jealous. That's how deep his love for you runs. That it's possible for you to provoke the God of heaven to jealousy. It's right there in the Ten Commandments. I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God. It's why the marriage motif continually comes up throughout Scripture in reference to Israel, in reference to the church, in reference to the individual. He wants to get it through our head that that's how he feels. When he finds us off with the world, making alliances with Egypt, it's the same reaction within him that if you saw your spouse flirting with another man or with another woman, or you saw your spouse or they saw you, we don't like it. And you don't like it because you love them and you covet their love and you promised your love to each other and to only each other. But did you know that? That that's how deep his love runs for you. That you, little old you, can provoke the God of the universe to jealousy. In fact, I took a page out of his book one day. That time when I told you I was flying around the world, that's when I knew Sarah was in Australia. And of course, before I left Scotland, I thought, Of course, I thought, because you've seen her and you've seen me, I thought, yeah, probably not, but worth a shot. So I eventually got to Australia, and she was there. I spent 3 weeks in Australia, and by the end of those 3 weeks, I've told some of you in here, I think, already, by the end of those 3 weeks, I had 2 weeks in Thailand, and then I was back home in Scotland. But I said to her, I said, hey, you know, I got 2 weeks in Thailand following this, and I could cancel those 2 weeks and spend them here with you, because I don't know, is it just me, or is there something? And she said, no, it's just you. So, off to Thailand. What's a man to do? It's not as though Thailand was a chore. So off to Thailand I went, and I spent 2 weeks. Now, while I was in Thailand, I might have happened to take a photograph or 2 or 3 of me standing beside any Thai girl who ever stood long enough for a photograph to be taken. I might have done that, and I might have sent those photographs to Sarah's best friend. I'm not saying it was my finest hour, right? I'm not saying, but you've seen her. You've seen me. I can't afford to play by the rules. Paul says this when he's writing to the church in Rome. He's writing about Israel and their rejection of the gospel, and what their rejection of the gospel means for the Gentile world, and what it means for Israel. But listen to what Paul says. Paul says, again I ask, did they stumble, Israel? Did they stumble so as to fall beyond recovery? Not at all. Rather, because of their transgression, salvation has come to the Gentiles to make Israel jealous. But if transgression means riches for the world, and their loss means riches for the Gentiles, how much greater riches would their fullness bring? I'm talking to you Gentiles, inasmuch as I am the apostle to the Gentiles. I make much of my own ministry. Why, Paul? Why do you make much of your own ministry? In the hope that I may somehow arouse my people to envy and save some of them. See, what I did in Thailand was entirely biblical. Maybe. Actually, I was only acting out of Sarah's best interests. I couldn't bear for her to lose out on such a spectacular prize. I was hoping to be able to say that without laughing so that she might hear it. Children. You are the envy. You are the envy of the nations. You are the envy of the nations. And it's the God of heaven who cherishes you and who wants only good things for you. And all he wants in return is the love that he sends your way returned to him. He seeks to capture your thoughts and bring them to obedience in Christ. Because if he can do that, it offers him more chance to bless you. He wants to capture your imagination so that even while nothing around you changes, everything around you changes. Because when it's his mud and his spit that's being rubbed over your eyes, so that you begin to see the world as God sees it. You are the coin that he swept frantically to find. You are the sheep that he returned with one day on his shoulders, rejoicing. You are the child that he waited upon the horizon to finally wake up from the pig pen that you had contented yourself with. And day and night, he waited. And if you want a different take on the pearl of great price, then you're the pearl. And he's the one who sold everything he had in order to obtain you. He simply asks you every now and then to look closely at the things that you're valuing and the things that you're holding dearly, so that you might recognize that all they are is fake. It's not real. This world that I described to you this morning, the social media world, the sports world, the political world, it's not real. And the second that we open our eyes to this, the second that we decide to discard the fake, the second that our feet hit the Jordan, out come the real pearls. And he wipes the mud from our eyes. But he won't force the little plastic pearls from you. That's not how love works. He simply waits and waits and waits until, delighting his ears, he hears you begin to stumble over the words. I am resolved no longer to linger, charmed by the world's delight. Things that are higher, things that are nobler, these have allured my sight. You want to sing? I will hasten to him, hasten so glad and free. Jesus, greatest, highest, I will come to thee. Do you know why when we read words like Rudyard Kipling's If, do you know why they resonate so deeply within you? Because you already know that the God you have is the God who always resides just on the other side of if your feet will touch the Jordan, if you'll draw near to him, if you'll confess his name in prayer. That's as far as God is from any man. He always stands on the other side of if. And if, then yours is the earth and everything in it. And which is more than that, you'll be a man, my son.